Hey everybody, welcome back to the Thrasher Show. We got a special preview of the Egg Bowl tonight. My name's Adam.
My name is Brendan, and today we're going to be going over the three biggest keys of the game for each team and giving a player to watch for both teams. And we're going to be giving our score prediction and one MVP of the game. So the Egg Bowl has been pretty close the past few years. It's a big rivalry game, of course. And I mean, last year Ole Miss had a way better team. Mississippi State was 2-10, and Ole Miss was 9-3, which they didn't even reach their ceiling. And the game was close for a little bit. I think Ole Miss pulled away a little bit at the end, and it was like a double-digit win for them. But the whole entire game, it was a close game, and they were down at one point in that game. They were down 14-10. So I mean, this is it doesn't matter what you can throw the records out of the way. You can throw everything you know out of the way. This is probably going to be a pretty good game.
Yeah, and both teams got so much to play for. Mississippi State's playing for bowl eligibility. Ole Miss playing for a national championship, try to host a playoff game.
And, this game is always usually close, but especially with the stuff with Lane Kiffin, do you think? I mean, I know in the past few weeks, the Lane Kiffin stuff has still been going on, but this week just feels a little bit different because it's starting to get really close to his decision. Do you think Ole Miss can navigate through all the noise and distractions, or do you think that may get to him a little bit?
I think most of the teams focus. They're worried about Chambliss came out, Keywan Lacey came out, so they're focused on being 1-0. This is like playoffs for them. They got to win this game. They're focused on their end goal.
Yeah, I think. I mean, the spread went down a lot. It was a 12 point spread leaning Ole Miss's way, and now it's down to 6. That has to do with the Lane Kiffin stuff. And do you think maybe the noise, the stuff from the playoffs, them getting down, moved down a spot from Oregon, that's definitely because of Lane Kiffin. Do you think the players are seeing that right now, or do you think they don't even look at the playoff rankings?
I think they try not to look at the playoff rankings, but I mean it's everywhere. Lane Kiffin's rumors are everywhere. I think they're doing the best they can to try to stay. Um, they try to keep their head in it.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get into the keys of the game for Ole Miss. The number one key to the game for Ole Miss I have is limit the big plays. Mississippi State is an explosive offense, and Ole Miss has trouble in the secondary with Bus. And Ole Miss's cornerbacks have a little trouble in man to man, and the safeties can sometimes give up big plays. You saw it in the Florida and Georgia game, and even the Arkansas game. Um, and, if you give Mississippi State time to throw the ball and time to air it out the field, they're going to hurt you. They have two of the best explosive receivers in the SEC. And I could see if Ole Miss has a couple busts, I mean, that's going to be a problem for Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's like I said, keep everything in front of you. Limit the big plays. Um, their safeties are probably going to be the most important people on the field tonight. I mean, during the Egg Bowl.
Yeah. And my second key kind of ties into this. You got to put pressure on whoever plays quarterback. If you don't get pressure on them and you let whoever plays quarterback like just stand back there and you give them 5 to 7 seconds to throw, they're gonna hurt you. They have the receivers to do it. Blake Shapen or Kamario Taylor has the arm to do it, and you got to put pressure on Blake Shapen, especially if he's in the game. Their offensive line is the worst offensive line in the league. Their offensive line's useless. They're kind of like that iPhone holder thing that Apple just released. It's completely useless. They're just standing around there breathing. They're just taking up space. They don't do a thing out there. And Ole Miss has the ends to put pressure on them, but that's the key to the game, and that helps with the number one key. You got to put pressure to stop them from going deep on you.
Yeah, that defensive line is going to be very important on Friday. They, like you said, had to put pressure on Shapen. Shapen's got a big arm. Whoever's playing quarterback, Taylor. If Taylor's starting, you're going to have to contain him because he's a very explosive runner. Um, like like you said, limit the big plays and put pressure on whoever's playing quarterback.
And Ole Miss has struggled. If Taylor's in there, he's gonna be one of my people to watch for Mississippi State, or he's my one player to watch for Mississippi State. Ole Miss has struggled a lot with the QB run. They've given up big runs to Gunnar Stockton, and I'm sure a lot of Ole Miss fans remember in the Arkansas game, Taylon Green was running all over them.
That's right. Yeah.
I think my third key to the game is you got to feed Keywan Lacey. Mississippi State's defensive line is kind of like the airport security pre 9/11. They're letting anybody through. I mean, Ahmad Hardy had 25 carries, 300 yards, and 3 touchdowns last week on this Mississippi State defense. And Missouri had a true freshman that could not throw. And Ahmad Hardy single-handedly beat Mississippi State. You got to feed Keywan Lacey in this game. If Keywan Lacey gets 30 carries this game, I don't really see a world where and Ole Miss, takes care of the ball. I don't really see a world where Mississippi State can win this game.
They like you said, feed Lacey. He's probably the best back in the SEC in my opinion. Um, he's explosive. The offensive line is starting to gel together. They're playing well. Um, they and with Chambliss, like he can run the ball. Um, so I think Ole Miss, if they can run the ball and get ahead of Mississippi State by the third quarter, it's just gonna go downhill from there.
Especially if Ole Miss gets a lead in this game and they can, even though they do tempo, they have the ability to slow the game down a little bit, even with their tempo. If they get up by 2 scores, I don't really see a way that Mississippi State can get back in this game, especially if they're running it like they can.
Yeah.
Keywan Lacey was named one of
Um,
the semifinalists for the Doak Walker Award. It was him, Jeremiah Love, and Ahmad Hardy. Who do you think wins that? Do you think it's Jeremiah Love?
yeah, I'm gonna say they're gonna get love the nod on that one. Which I mean, Lacey, his stats are right there with Love, so it's gonna be a toss up.
Yeah. The keys for Mississippi State, or
Yeah, the keys for Mississippi State I have, they're gonna have to run the ball, keep it Ole Miss offense off the field. Uh, like I said, if they can control the clock, keep them off the field, and they have a chance.
yeah, they gotta keep Ole Miss's offense off the field because their defense is well, really nobody's defense has been good enough to stop Ole Miss's this year. Not even Georgia, and they have a decent defense. Ole Miss put up like 35 on them. LSU probably did the best job against them, and Ole Miss still put 24 up on that that defense, and you gotta keep Keywan Lacey off the field. If Keywan Lacey gets going, I don't think there's any way Mississippi State can stop him.
Another key I have, you're gonna have to have packages for Taylor to get in there at quarterback where he can run and punish Ole Miss's defensive line, tire them out, and keep their offense on the field because I think he's much more elusive than Shapen.
Especially with their offensive line being how it is. I mean, I don't know why Levy keeps going back to Blake Shapen. I wouldn't be surprised if they start cracking down on the college football gambling. You see Jeff Levy and Blake Shapen on there because it is malpractice that Kamario Taylor is not starting. Blake Shapen is about as clutch as a band aid when you've been shot. He is terrible. He chokes. He plays good for a little bit, but then in the fourth quarter, he just falls apart. You've seen it in the Florida game, which that was really Jeff Levy's fault. I don't know why he threw it. They could have kicked a game-winning field goal. Blake Shapen has not been good this year, and I just can't believe that Kamario Taylor's not the starter.
Yeah, I think the reason Shapen's starting, he has more experience. Taylor and doesn't have a whole lot of starts under his belt. Shapen probably has the bigger arm, and with those two receivers that they have, he can get it down there and they can take the top off any defense they play. And Taylor, like I said, he's just kind of inexperienced. He's not, fine tuned as a passer right now. But I think he's going to be very exciting to watch in the future.
If he doesn't transfer like Michael Van Buren did.
Yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't blame him for transferring. I mean, you say inexperienced, but I mean he's got to get starts somehow. He had three. Their offense has looked a lot better with Kamario Taylor on the field.
Yeah. The last key I have is you got to win the turnover battle. For State to win, they got to win the turnover battle. They're gonna have to pick off Chambliss. They're gonna have to force some fumbles. I mean, that's all there is to it, and limit the penalties. Like don't make boneheaded plays. No personal fouls, stuff like that.
Yeah, if Ole Miss plays a clean game and doesn't turn the ball over, I don't really see there's a way where Mississippi State can win this one.
No, I don't either.
If they start turning over the ball over, and it can start unraveling a little bit for Ole Miss. But Ole Miss has been pretty good. I think they have some of the fewest turnovers in the Kiffin era, like in college football. Their quarterbacks really never turned the ball over except Matt Corral in 2020. That was a different story. Trinidad only has 4 interceptions. I think Kewan Lacey only has a fumble this year. So I don't think that should be a problem for Ole Miss. But if it does become a problem, I think that's one way that Mississippi State, maybe the only way Mississippi State can win this game.
Yeah, I agree. So who do you think are the key players? Who's going to have to step up for each team to win?
Uh, I think Kewan Lacey. I think he's a key player for Ole Miss. He doesn't have to step up. He's been playing great, but if Ole Miss is gonna win this game, it's gonna be on the back of Kewan Lacey. He's been going off this year. Like I said, Ahmad Hardy had 300 yards against this Mississippi State defense. And it wasn't just a 1 week fluke thing. They've had trouble stopping the run. They had trouble stopping the run against Georgia, just like Ole Miss did. But theirs is a lot worse than Ole Miss's. They really struggle with stopping the run. And if Kewan Lacey has a big game, if he has anywhere close to Ahmad Hardy game, Trinidad is not going to have to do much. I think biggest key player for Ole Miss has to be Kewan Lacey. And for Mississippi State, I have to say Kamario Taylor still. He had 3 touchdowns against Georgia, and their offense was terrible that game, except when Kamario Taylor came in. He's looked better than Blake Shapen every single time he's came in, and I'm really confused why they haven't started him. But Ole Miss struggles with the QB run, so I imagine they do have some packages for Kamario Taylor if he's not starting to come in and run like they've been doing all season.
Yeah, and I believe if they're down 2 scores at halftime, Jeff Levy's going to make that change and get Kamario Taylor some experience, and try to get him a boost and try to turn the offense around.
Who's the key players for you?
My two players, I would have to go for State is Brennan Thompson. He's second in the SEC in receiving yards. He's got like 800 and what does he have? 868 yards. He's got 6 touchdowns. Probably gonna be the fastest player on the field Friday. He can take off the top off any defense. He can run routes. He's very. It's gonna be a very high round pick in the NFL draft. And for Ole Miss, I have Wydett Williams. He's leading the team in interceptions for Ole Miss. And with those two explosive receivers that State has, that like both safeties are going to be very big in that game. But I think he's going to have a big game.
What do you think that over? If I set the over under at one fight, would you say the over under?
Yeah, I think the refs going to do a good job of keeping it clean. Hopefully, um,
I hope they
I'm
don't. I
gonna
hope we see a few
say,
fights.
yeah, I'm gonna say I'd rather just see some football, some good clean football. Uh, I mean, hard hitting and stuff, but I don't want to see any fighting.
Well, they really haven't been much fighting in the past few years. I think my favorite Egg Bowl memory ever was like the first play Matt Corral came in. He started like a whole entire team scuffle. I think that's one of my favorite Egg
Yeah,
Bowl memories.
yeah, that was a good game. Yeah, that's even though we lost when who was it that like he peed on the field?
Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore. That was crazy.
So, what's your predictions for the Egg Bowl this year?
Um, I see Ole Miss winning 40-24.
Who's your MVP for the game?
I think Sunterian Perkins is gonna have a big game. I think he's going. I think Kiffin's gonna let him loose, and he's gonna have 3 or 4 sacks that game.
I think mine. I have Ole Miss winning 35-21. I think Mississippi State's gonna keep it close for a little bit, but I think kind of just like in the Florida game, I think Keywan Lacey's gonna start making the defenders tired, and Keywan Lacey doesn't really get tired. I think he's gonna run all over on Mississippi State. I got Keywan Lacey, my MVP. I think he's gonna add to his touchdown record. And I think Ole Miss wins 35-21, like I said, and Keywan Lacey MVP.
You heard any new rumors about Kiffin? Or I've heard a few today. Heard he already bought a house down there, and his wife was in LSU, and she joined the gym down there. But some of the rumors I heard today.
I mean, that's crazy that people are looking at gym memberships for to see where Lane Kiffin. I'm
Yeah,
I'm so ready for this to be over with. I think Lane Kiffin did a terrible job with this, with the way he handled this, and it really sucks for Ole Miss fan because you've been waiting for a year like this forever. You thought last year was going to be a year like this to make the playoffs and have a chance at the national championship, and all anybody wants to talk about is Lane Kiffin. And I feel like it's Lane Kiffin's fault they moved down, to be completely honest. I'm ready for it to be over, whether he leaves, which I think he's going to do, or stays.
yeah. I hope he stays, but I think he's gone. But I mean, you hate it for the players. Like they worked really, really hard. Like nobody thought Ole Miss was going to be here at the beginning of the season. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year. I think we had 2 starters back from that team last year, and like I said, nobody saw it. We just came out of nowhere.
And I saw a lot of Mississippi State fans talking about how, you know, since Lane Kiffin is leaving, Ole Miss is never going to be the same again. And I don't really understand that. I mean, one coach doesn't make Ole Miss. They have one of the best athletic directors. They have a really good NIL. And maybe for a team like a little poor school like Mississippi State, one coach does make them like Dan Mullen. But that's not Ole Miss. Ole Miss isn't a little poor school like Mississippi State that sucks at every sport, maybe besides baseball. Um, I think Ole Miss is going to be fine without Lane Kiffin.
If he does end up leaving, I think they'll be fine. But
They
we have to
may
get a good
take a
coach in there. But like you said,
they may take a step back next year from 11-1, but I think they're going to be back.
oh yeah, like you said, Keith Carter. I'll put him up against anybody in the SEC as an athletic director. I mean, he's done a phenomenal job at every sport. women's basketball, baseball. He hired Chris Beard, which I thought was a phenomenal hire. But I think we'll be like he'll have somebody in there that's going to compete.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal hire for the basketball team, but not for the women of Oxford. He has the shady past.
Yeah, I think that's in his past though. I think.
Well, I hope so. I hope he's
Yeah,
still not being women.
yeah,
Let's just stick to being Iowa, hopefully.
yeah,
Do
yeah.
you-
Speaking of Iowa, big game. Both teams are 5-0 tonight.
well, to say one more thing about the Egg Bowl, if Levy loses this game, is he like really on the hot seat, or do you think they give him another year?
I think they get one more year, but next year if they go, 5-7, 6-6, 4-8, I think he's gone.
Yeah, I think they give him one more year. I mean, he really hasn't done a bad job with the roster he inherited. Last year was a disaster, but this year he has him win away from bowl eligibility. Um, I agree though. If he loses this game, I think he's gone next year if they don't at least make a bowl game. I think maybe for Mississippi State, you can make a bowl game, and all you gotta do is beat Ole Miss, and the fans will be content. But not with Ole Miss anymore. They want to win national championships. So.
Yeah, yeah, I know a lot of state fans, which I mean, you got bad fans in every fan base. But I know a lot of state fans.
Especially
Their
in the
main goal
Florida
is to be
fan
Ole Miss.
base. Florida fans suck.
Uh,
Florida fans are the worst fan base. And I'll be kind of
yeah,
happy when
maybe
Lane
so.
Kiffin
I don't
decides
know
to
many
go
people.
to LSU to see all the Florida fans.
Yeah, I think that's everybody's saying he's going to LSU right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a big one in basketball tonight. Both 5-0 teams. Ole Miss is going to get tested a lot these next few games. They got Iowa. What's the score of the Iowa game? Do you have it pulled up?
16-16 with 7 minutes left in the first.
Kind of a low scoring game. Which Ole Miss has a really good defense. And Iowa has a really good defense. But Ole Miss is gonna have to prove a lot these next few games. I mean, they're gonna get tested, which is good for March. They got Iowa, and then if they win that game, they got the winner of Grand Canyon and Utah, and then they got Miami, which Miami wasn't good last year, but they've improved. They hired a new coach, and then they got a big one against St. John's.
Yeah, they got a bunch of big games, which hopefully, like they made it Sweet 16 last year. I think Chris Beard's shooting for a better season than that this year.
Yeah, it all depends on their big three. If Elias Carmadine, Malik Dia, and AJ Store perform, I don't really. They can compete with anybody.
I agree with that.
This will wrap up another episode of the Thrasher Show. Please like and subscribe. See you next time.